Hello. All right. I think this thing is working now. Yep, it certainly does seem to be working. So now, so anyway, I'm back for another Septandy kind of a video. I've actually had a bit of extra time, which is actually kind of about to end here in a day or so, which I'll go back to having normal time. But anyway, so I figured I would kind of give an overview and uh, kind of a background and really take you through the steps that I use to create the game level atlas that I recently did for Super Pitfall on the Coco 3. And I've actually, you know what? Let me see if I can find that, just so you know what I'm talking about. I think I have it as yeah, that is. I was just looking at this. So this is what a level atlas is. It's basically a full picture of all of the levels that you would see in a game. You'll see things like this in strategy guides back in the day. You'll see them. There's actually websites now that are dedicated to it. I think it's one of the Atlas sites has I think several hundred games on it, which all detail this. Um, and the way that this can be done is, back in the day they probably took photographs of it and did some special compositing, getting all of that stuff together. So there was a wide range of techniques. But today, it is much easier, and I'm going to be showing you actually how to do that, how to create something like this using just a couple of tools, both of which are free. In addition to having an emulator, of course, that certainly makes it easier. Now, back in the day, we would do stuff like this. We'd dig around in applications, and similar way that I'm going to show you today. But today these days it's just a lot fancier than what we used to the way that we used to do it back then. If you've seen any of the games that on the Coco 2 and Coco 3 that have had slight modifications done to some of their artwork, you'll know what I'm talking about. So anyway, today I'm going to be doing, since we're going to be going into Pitfall. I got to say this is actually one of my least favorite games. So the fact that I actually did this is it was an experiment. But there's the size of the map itself was certainly compelling. And so I figured I would start kind of doing atlases, and this was the one that I was going to start with. Um, so one of the tools that I'm going to use here is GIMP, and it's actually I'm going to use it in a way that it really wasn't originally intended for, along with a little tool that I created. Now, in doing something like this, it's really nice to have some kind of a reference. In fact, you know what? I'm going to post this on Facebook here real quick. And if you see me looking up like I am right now, it's because I actually have a TV uh, hooked up, and which allows me to control OBS and see um, any comments that are made a lot easier. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, and we're good. Okay, so anytime that I've done something like this, what I like to do is I like to get some references, and having an emulator certainly makes that easier. Um, for a couple of reasons, because first you can take screenshots of it, and that really helps to have a point of reference when you're working, as well as kind of a source for the artwork. Now, if you'll see, this guy is. Let's see. Let's change our options. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. We want to change this to novice just in case, and we're going to do our button here. Oh, and actually, you know what I want to do. So since we're also gonna want to use some of these images, um, I am going to take some screenshots, but I want them to be in a known size and known ratio. So the default size for VCC is doubles the pixel size. So we know that we just have to resize it to half. Um, let's see here. So we're actually going to save these off in GIMP. Now, if you're not familiar with GIMP, it is an image manipulation tool and it's free. I use it for for pretty much everything that artworks. Okay, so we're just going to do a screenshot here of the first, just kind of coming in. I don't care if I die. We'll do that. And that would kind of give us a little bit of a reference point when when we're looking through the game snapshot, which I'll show you here in a minute. So let's actually go over here past this frog. I want to oh well, I'll be able to start there. I want to go down a little bit because I want to get some other graphics as well. I think we can go down here. I think there's some water or something down here. Maybe not. All right. Well, we've got the ladders. I think that's going to be important. So we've got that in, and we'll come down over here. It's kind of unique in its architecture. So we're going to make another screenshot of that. And that's coming up on my other screen. So we're going to kind of save those off there on the side. And I think maybe I'll go make another one because I want some of that, the, okay, there we go. I want the little spiky things there. One thing to note about this game is that it is quite different than the original NES version. So actually, I think we can kind of cut that down now. Okay, so we've got our reference points. We know we've got some architecture here. I'd actually much rather, I really wanted to get like the pyramids there at the top that you see, but those they take a while to get to. So we can make do with this. We've got some unique architecture with that, some unique patterns here. Having the ladder, we know that that's something that is all throughout all the levels. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a blueprint of what we're working on. So the now that we've got this, we've got to get the map data, and that's where we've come to. We're going to use GIMP for that as well, but this is a little bit more involved because first you have to be able to take a snapshot of the game. Now, when you're looking for map data, there's usually it's going to be compressed. Um, and certainly to save size, and it's not going to be decompressed until usually you either start the game or you start that particular level. And that's actually the case here because it's on a 32K ROM and there's limited space. I mean, and the maps are fairly sizable. Um, so once you've and I use VCC, so I actually modified VCC to take a snapshot of this. So if you're using MAME, the format might be a little bit different, but that's not really going to change how you do it. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to use GIMP to import this as an image. And that will actually allow us to kind of view what we're or define what we're looking for based on some of the patterns here, and knowing that we've got some special architecture, some identifiable architecture, particularly up here in this particular picture. So the reason why we added data has to be the extension when we import that into MAME. And the reason for that is it recognizes that as something that is very custom, and it actually gives you quite a few options to do it. So I think I can. That is not working. I may actually have to save these out. I don't think I can hit open with. Nope, I cannot. But I guess I can do it manually. Open. And there we go. And here we go. So this is the window that you get um, when this pops up. So we're gonna actually I want to change that to 256. Okay. Oh, and there we go. We've actually already got something on the screen. Okay, so there's actually several ways to do this now. If now you can see the images here, and I've already got the offset set here. And the reason why I have this set up the way that I do, and I'll explain that. If you look at this snapshot, it's actually 512K. It's actually a 512K image. With this particular game, it's 128 game, 128K game. So it all of its data and all of its code and everything is going to exist in that upper 128K of the machine. So we set the offset to skip past that first 384K. So all we see is uh, that last 128K of that image, and already we're seeing something. And you can do this on any Coco game because you can change this, and we'll after I change this, you'll see it'll come into a much clearer thing where we now have the two different pages, for page flipping in the game. And you can do this with pretty much uh, any game. Now, how much information you can actually get out of it is going to be up to the game. But as far as like graphics go, you can take uh, you know shots from what's going on. Like this one is in the middle of being drawn. As you can see, it doesn't have like the character sprite up as it does here where my cursor is. Um, so in this particular case, we don't know how wide uh, the map actually is. We're kind of going in this blind. So, you can kind of guess. You know that it's large, so you can go to say 100. Don't want to do 1,000. But and here's the thing. Now, right now we're in gray 4-bit, and this is actually the pixel format that is used on the Coco, where you have 2 pixels per byte. You've got the high nibble, which is the left pixel, and the low nibble, which is the right pixel. So this allows you to see, the 16 color graphics, even though it's grayscaled, you can fill in the palette later. But for things like game maps, they're usually a full byte for each individual block from that in that tile map. So we're going to want to change this to indexed mode. And so that's going to do 1 byte per pixel, which is going to map. Some games do use 2 bytes per pixel, but in that case, I don't think you're going to get much here because it isn't supported. Now the problem with this is when it does it, it's grayscaled. So your lower values within that tile map are going to be kind of are the most common values can be some of the lower values a lot of the time. So we're going to kind of want to brighten that up. So we're going to want to change a palette. We can just select any file. It's just going to take all the data at the beginning of it, and boom, there we've got some color to it. Now the one great thing about game levels is that there's always some kind of a symmetry to them, and you'll see as we start kind of searching around and adjusting for it. Uh, how it kind of comes into focus. So actually, let's go back to, let's see, we're in a 1 pixel mode, so we want to do 128 pixels because that's half of that. Okay, so we know that this chunk right here is, the screen image, and we know that this, looks like a lot of noise. Um, but up here at the beginning, there looks like there might be, some structures. You have some gaps there which seem, pattern oriented. So now that could be graphics. It could be, level data. The same down here. All of this, in between here could be either graphics or level data. So we need to go through and start searching. And really, all you do is start changing the width of the image that you're looking for. And luckily, all of this stuff is up at the top. Otherwise, if you do this, you have to kind of keep on scrolling up in order to keep pace. So we're going to keep on going until we start seeing something. And yeah, you can see we're right up in here where that darker, and then you've got all the stuff at an angle, and that's kind of what you're looking for, is the stuff kind of tilts into view as you're changing the size, or in or out of view depending on which direction you're going. So yeah, I can see that. There we go. So there we go. We actually can see the level data as 1 pixel per tile. So let's open that up, and up it went up on my other screen. So we're going to move this up. So this is a pretty big pretty big image. So we're going to need to kind of zoom in here a little bit. So let me move my window here. We're going to zoom up here at the top. Let me make this a little wider. Okay, so yeah, here we can see the shape of the pixels, kind of pixelated blocks. But yeah, there's that very clear as day. You've got some match to the references over here, and that'll help because now we can see where that structure is later on, and we'll be able to associate it with some of these graphics. So now that we actually have it and we can see it as an image, we've actually got to find a way to get it into back into something like raw data that we can actually do something with. And that's actually pretty easy. So, and all you have to do is clip whatever region you want to save out. We're going to do that. Let's zoom in here. See. So we're going to crop the image to that particular selection. You're going to go in the image menu here and go to crop selection. So now we have the image, and we can actually look at the dimensions of this image, and that tells us actually how big that map is. And in this particular game, we know that the tile map that it's using is, or it looks to be, like a 16 by 16 pixels, which was pretty common back in the day. It was either 8 by 8 pixels or 16 by 16. Now you get like 64 by 64 and all that. And that's just uh, in pixel art games. So, but now we can actually see this as an image, but we've got to get this out into to a different format so that we can do something with it. For that, we're going to save it back out as well data. Um, and but actually, we are going to come over here and save it in our maps folder here, and we're going to call this main cavern. Okay. So yeah, those options don't really mean much. So now let me go back over here to maps, and I'm going to delete this palette file because we don't need it. Okay, so now we have this main cavern data, and this is where um, uh, GIMP is kind of pushed aside for a little bit, and we are going to have to get this into another tool so that we can actually get all those visuals done pretty easily because we don't want to go in and do, like copy and paste um, on some large bitmap because that would just take way too much time. So we're actually going to use the same techniques that were used to create the map in the first place. And we're going to use a program called Tiled. Now this is one of my favorite tile editing or map editing tools. It's really simple, and I've got a lot of my tools can import data from it, so it makes it easy. But I didn't even have to use those tools to do this. It was just it's a simple little one-liner and a copy and paste job in order to do this. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a minute as soon as I get done with this D. So now the interesting thing here is if we go back over and look at this picture, each one of these blocks that we see here is just a single byte. So we know that the first 180 bytes are going to be this first line of blocks up here, and then of course the next 80, so on, and down for and on that. So we know it's just it's a big old square, and that's exactly what we want because we can actually put that into tiled. Now tiled is really nice because it is pretty easy to use. Now there's a couple of things that we actually need to do first, and I've already got some graphics ready for that. And the first is to create a tile set with it. So let me get this out of here. I don't need that anymore, and we're gonna shrink those down. And I'm going to open up this template here. This is a file that I created. Where did that go? There it is. Oh, it's on my other window. Okay. And for something like this, where I've got unknown tiles, I just created a kind of a tile map or a tile set image for using the Cocoa palette. I'm using the all 64 colors, so we've got 64 tiles, which should be just fine for this one. Some need more. There are games that actually do use a full 256, but 64 is good for us. So we're going to use this image as kind of our base. Um, So I'm just going to export that. So we need to create a PNG for tiled to use as a tile set, and then we're going to import that in. So we want to do main cavern.png. Okay. So, and you know what? I think that for the first go around, I'm gonna get rid of these numbers. Let me move this back over here. I'm gonna get rid of this numbers layer and do that. Some of the colors might bleed into it, but I think that having those numbers on there, kind of right at the beginning is a little too much noise. At least until you start getting rid of some of like the empty space. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And there's another one that I want to do too, and that's I may wait for that because that's the objects. Okay, so let's start up tiled here. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a new tile set. I'm going to call this main cavern as well. Now, tiled is a really good, simple, free program for doing this cavern. Okay, so this is going to be based on that, and we need to select our image. And actually, let me find this. And oh, okay. So our tiles are 16 by 16 pixels each. There's no margin and there's no spacing in between it because I like everything to be nice and close together and based on tile set image. So we're going to save this as, and we're going to go to the same directory. We're going to call this main cavern DSX. Okay. So we've now created our main cavern and we need to, but now we need to create a map. And we're going to do a default map, and then we're actually going to modify it in Notepad. Um, so let's see here. I need to create a new map. Now we want to select, this is very important on this particular map. When you create the map, the tile format, when it gets saved, it has various compression and uncompressed and encodings. CSV is important because that's the easiest way to do stuff. And it's right down, fixed map size is 128. We know that's wrong. And actually, I should have saved that. Um, it was, actually, you know what? Ooh, I know it was 180. I'm gonna have to do that all over, do that again real quick. Let's see. I can do this. Move this back over here. That to 0. It doesn't matter. 180 by 132. Okay, that's what we want our map size to be. Okay, so we're going to create a new map. We're going to have, all right. Yep, 180 by 132. Okay, we are done with that. We're going to save this as main cavern. Okay, now the next step before we get into to modifying this is to add the external tile set to it. Okay, so we now have our tile set that we can see, and it looks just like a palette, which is really what it is. So we're going to save that, and I'm going to use Visual Studio for this because that's where I'm going to generate the um, uh, or convert the file over. So this is the only step that requires any like programming skills. So if you can do a script, JavaScript, whatever, there's all kinds of ways to do it. But really, the only thing that you have to know is that tiled uses the value 0 to represent empty space. So when converting it, you have to add 1 to whatever value that the byte is that you read. So and all you need to do is export it as just a series of values separated by commas, and it will generate something like this. There we go. Um, And that's all you need because you can take this, we're going to select all of it, and then we're going to come over here to our, that's our tile map. Ah, it did not honor that. Let's see, let's change that real quick. CSV. There we go. Okay, so you'll get this big old thing of numbers here. So, and this is the map data. See, it uses 0 as empty. So we take this down here and we take this. Okay, all that stuff's been deleted. We bring our stuff in here, get rid of this. And in my case, I was lazy, so we have to delete that last comma at the end of that line. So we can save that. And now when we switch over to that, we have our initial map with some stuff associated with it. We have all kinds of well, it's pretty clear. Um, so now that we have this, we need to uh, update this tile set over here with the correct images, so that we want it to look something like it does in the game. Now I'm not going to do all of that here. I don't, in fact, I don't know if the original tile set or that I used to create that atlas one, but if it will work here, but we'll give it a shot after we've gone through some of that stuff, so you can see kind of the final thing. So in that, and that leaves us pretty much done with tiled for the moment. So now we're going to switch back over to uh, GIMP, and we're going to start adding some tiles, and we're going to do that by copying and pasting from those references that we made earlier. Now we don't need to actually have any reference points for them here in the map anymore. So really, they're just so we can cut them up for their graphics and not have to worry too much about it. So we're just kind of zoom in here, and we're going to concentrate on this first part. So now this is where the numbers, having those might come in handy. Um, so, but at the same time, I can hover over this, and over here in the little, right here where my mouse cursor is down in the lower left-hand corner, it'll tell you what the tile ID is. So all we have to do is subtract one. Or no, actually, I think these are zero based. Yeah, these are zero based. So all we have to do is go over and match the number in our tile set template, and we are and paste it there, and I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and pull up. Let me get rid of Visual Studio. I don't need that anymore. Um, and yes, I'm showing how I did that. Let's get rid of that window. All right, so we got things cleaned up. We can shrink this down for a minute. We're actually going to go back up to it because every time that we update the uh, the tile set, that map is gonna update in tiled as well. So we've got some graphics to go by. So let's take a look at doing the ladders first. That kind of gives us an overall view of the kind of the path of the level in conjunction with all that empty spots. So let's go over here, and it looks like these light blue lines right here are the ladder, and that's tile ID number 6. So let's go over here, and we're going to go in and grab this ladder. Okay, so 32, and I think, yep, that's top. So now, since remember that BCC doubles the pixel size um, for its default zoom. Uh, so we're gonna even though the tile set is 16 by 16, we're looking at 32 by 32 pixels here. So but we can take care of that. So now we need to find, oh, we don't have that loaded. Could have chosen a better name for that. Why is that? No, no, that's right. I didn't save it afterwards. Okay, and there we go. It keeps on pushing these on my other window. It's set up as my main desktop, but I'm launching it from here. All right, so we know a couple of things here. We know that that zero spot is empty space, and we know that spot 6 is that ladder. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a new layer. Yep, I am showing how I did it. Let's see. Okay, unused. Here we go. Okay, now we're going to use this to hold the numbers that we aren't using, just in case we want to overlay them later. So I'm going to make a selection here, and then make this other selection here. Oh, I forgot about the stroke. I guess we're just going to delete them. Screw that. All right, so we need to delete and 6 because we know what those are. And let's take this, and we're going to paste this right into here. Oops, I do need to create a new layer. We're going to call it tiles. All right, so this layer needs to be scaled. And we don't want any interpolation to happen. That'll just skew it. We kind of want to keep that pixel look of it. So there we go. So we're just going to move that. Make sure that's aligned. And boom. Yeah, those numbers are pretty obnoxious. But we have our blank space set up, and we have our ladders, so we can zoom out here, and that looks pretty legit so far. So now let's do some of this other stuff. We know that and this will real quick for the most part. So we know that um, this one here, that seems to be this solid block over here. Like like this kind of guy right here. Oh, I don't think I've got enough. Oh, damn it. Oh, just enough. Wow. Talk about something wonderful today. Just enough pixels right there on the edge. Okay, so we've got another we've got another block. So we know that that goes into slot 1. This just becomes real easy from this because it just becomes pretty much copy and paste and whatever uh, how many ever snapshots you can take, or you can dig in and use the same technique to actually pull out the imagery. Um, that's also an option. So in fact, we need to scale this again. I should probably scale the source. Let's go, and that is 1. And we can do that top one. That's a 4. That'll get us. Yeah, that's pretty nice there. So I think after this one, I'm going to scale down those references. That was 4. Oh wow, wait, that's the corner piece. That's 3. Oh well, okay. Ah, there's a spider. See that? That spider got in the way. That's all right. And we're going to do the same thing to this one because we like that repetitiveness. Um, and that's 4. Now, that's going to bug me, so we're going to go ahead and Photoshop his ass out of there. All right, and we want to keep that. So yeah, that's starting to shape up. Now I think I'll do that last corner there actually. I'm gonna do this. Extract this, crop to selection, because we are going to be doing this. And then I'm going to crop it to the contents. All right, so we've got an even number, and we're going to go ahead and scale this puppy. Scale image. Percent. Oops, I did cubic. None. All right, so there, we've got more source art. So because we're going to be doing this background too. So let's go ahead and let's grab this puppy, and so we can actually use the. Oops, that's a text tool. So yeah, we can use that the ladder as a guide. Okay, so we've got now we're working in 16 by 16 because we've scaled everything. So we go to that. That is 2. All right, so now we're going to do these big blocks behind there, and then we're going to try to get the pillars in there. So let's get the big ugly 42s out of there. So we've got this, and we can use this as 16 by 16. Okay, that's 42, huh? Boom, and it changed in the background. So that's starting to that's starting to shape up. And of course, you've got the different blocks down there and all of this. So it's not all that difficult um, to to do. It just takes a little bit of time and patience because there are of course some areas that you have to go into and um, take a screenshot of just to get the graphics, or you have to extract it from the game. So that is certainly a pain. But yeah, it does take some time because you've got to do the graphics, and of course there's always the option of doing or grabbing the graphics from another version of the game, say like the NES. I mean, there are a lot of websites out there that have the tile sets from some of those games. So it comes in real handy. Now I'm going to take a look at let's take a look at um, the original um, cavern. Yeah, yeah. See, that's shaping up to be a lot different um, than what I have, because there was the conversion that happened kind of scattered these around for some reason. I don't know if I did some like palette manipulation or something on it by accident. Um, but so yeah, that looks different. But these are pretty much all of the graphics, so it would not be difficult to copy those and paste those, back up over here. But we're going to do a couple more just to get some more definition in there, so we can like say we've got a full scene that has some pizzazz to it. So that's going to be 10. That's the let's get rid of that. That's the okay. So 11 is the bottom of the pillar. So there we go. We got 16 by 16. And if we go, where did my, oh, there it is. See, which number was that? 11. Yep, that looks good. And then we'll get, we've got this one here. 16 by 16. Awesome. Good to go with that. So let's see, that's 10. Yeah, these are all grouped pretty well. pretty well organized. That I may have to go back and update my old one with this. Okay, so now, oh yeah, yeah. See, we've got pretty much a full, full kind of scene there with everything that you'd expect. Just no creatures and no things. Now that again is actually pretty easy to do, and uh, the only thing that you really have to do before that is go out and get the graphics for it, or find the graphics for it in some way, or draw them up yourself. I mean, that takes screenshots, snap them out. So for this one, I've already actually I've done that ahead of time because there was no reason to go through that. So I'm going to actually create another tile set to do that. But let's take a look at the image that I have for the objects. Let's see, this is maps, Super Pitfall objects, and then I go over here and grab this. Okay, so this has all of the um, special pickups and stuff and prizes that you can find in the main cavern. You got your four um, uh, card suits for which act as keys. You got your gun, your free life, the little gem, the key, which is important. The various piles of gold, the balloon, and then the dropping platforms, which are treated separately. They're not actually part of the map data. In fact, if you look at the atlas that I posted um, down in that area, that those actually were never in the actual map data. So it was very difficult to I had to go through the entire level. It didn't take really that long, about a half hour, I guess, to get through the whole thing and map them all out. But it was still, a pain in the butt. So we're going to create oops, what the hell happened there? Wow, never seen that. You just shake your window and everything else goes away. Shake it again and everything comes back. That's the, I did not know about that. That's actually pretty damn cool. So let's get rid of that. Let me go ahead and export this. And actually, I need to export this as without that background there. That's just a guide for that I so that I get them centered. Um, and these are actually I think these are 32 or 48 by 24. Um, yeah, 48 by 32 in size. Actually, that's going to be important when we create our tile sets. So let's do this. Let's go back over here to tiled, and we're going to keep this up here. And let's create a new tile set. We're going to call this objects, even though it's a tile set. And then we're going to select this, and we got to make sure that we update the tile width. So that was 48 by 32, no margin, no spacing, save as objects. Okay, so there we go. We've got all of our objects. They're nice and tidy and selectable, so we can get rid of that, and we have to attach that um, to our map. So you go up here to map, add external tile set, and then select it. So but rather than doing a tile layer, if you're at all familiar with it, you can do you have to do an object layer. Even though we're using tiles, you have to place it on an object layer for to get positioning um, correct. So we're going to change this to just objects, and we're going to move over here. Now there's a special mode or a special object type, which is a tile. um, that they allow you to add, because the others are just points and shapes, whereas this one you can actually associate a piece of graphics with it. So this comes in handy for doing stuff like this. And we know that the gun is up here somewhere, so we're just going to take a wild guess, and we're going to place that gun right there. That looks about right. So we know that there's some gold down in this level, so we can actually drop that there. And we know that there was a balloon, so we can drop that right there. So all of this comes in handy when you start mapping out, the level and wanting to add objects, because now that, if you've done all of your object graphics at a time, it's pretty easy to just kind of start dropping stuff in there. And you can export it as an image. You have that option, and it includes all of the active layers. You can even hide them. which is really cool. So if you just want to work on the map, um, so that also comes in real handy. Once you're done with that, you actually have something that some other programs support, but you at least have it in a known format. You could do a lot of stuff with it. Just publish it. Create get kudos for the for mapping it all out. These make um, great cheat sheets. For people that have had problems they trying to figure out how to work through it. It works for strategy if you already know um, you're already good at the game, but you want to get the highest score possible in the shortest time possible, or whatever. Um, then it certainly comes in handy there. So this can be done with a lot of different games. Um, and then there's some that are slightly different, but the same technique applies, like Gold Runner, which has two tiles or two tile IDs in a single byte. The high nibble is the one on the left, and the low nibble is the one on the right. So with when doing conversion like that, you have to take that into account, which actually you can do with GIMP. Um, so yeah, if I were to go through and uh, keep doing what I was copying pasting the stuff over, adding the objects, etc., I would end up with something like this. See, you can see here where the falling platforms are mapped out. Um, let's make sure that's, yep, select object. So and all of this goes through, and you could follow this. You could actually take this and create a completely new implementation of it. You could use the same maps and although I really don't know why anybody would, but you do find some interesting things, like here's the diamond here, and then you've got this falling platform that you've got to go all the way down here to cross these pits of spikes and lava, or fire and lava, whatever, and then you have to go through. And one of the things that I didn't add was the creatures, um, but there are some that I may do, like the stone statues that follow you or come at you, particularly down here in this level. I don't know. I may add that. It's not really that hot on the game. Knowing where all of the stuff is, still leaves some of that challenge to having to deal with the different creatures. So this is good. Yeah, there's uh, a JavaScript version of this would probably be that'd be interesting to see. Um, I mean, there's certainly a lot of tools, and I mean, I'm going to be posting the all of the files for this after I'm going to do some cleanup, but I'm going to be posting the files for this on GitHub. Um, so I'll post a link to that in the video description when I get done here. So but yeah, and in fact, what? I tell you what, I'm going to show you the. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, cancel that. Okay. So yeah, if I went through and kept on doing it, all of that would be it would look just the same, and it is what it is. But let me show you what the gold runner is, because this is rather than having a snapshot of of the game running, the uh, you have a binary, game binary, that you just do load m, and it comes into memory. So you have to do actually a little bit of searching, but since there's particularly in that game, you actually know the size of the level, so it's actually a little bit easier. Um, so let me go over here. Let me close some of this down. Yeah, we're gonna save that. But we're gonna get rid. We don't really need these the screenshots from before anymore, because I mean I have I have all the graphics in other files, but we do want to save our this tile sheet and get rid of that. All right. So let me go over here to snapshots, and I've already got this saved over. I thought I might do this. I wasn't really sure if I was going to have time or whatever, but I may even pull up some other files. Um, so now, for those of you that don't know, Gold Runner and Gold Runner 2, let me grab this window over here, are clones of Load Runner. Um, Although they've got more of a kind of a chase pattern rather than a kind of a stalker type pattern. But the maps are a single screen, and they're all, I think, 8 by 9 pixels. And there's some actual details about it because I know because we used to hack our own levels in the original Gold Runner um, when we got it. So we had a couple of different editors for it, and that was how we found out how the maps were stored. So now, in the case of Gold Runner and Gold Runner 2, there's two things about the maps. One is that they are, as I mentioned earlier, they are stored with 2 tile IDs per byte. So 1 byte represents two of those blocks on the screen, right next to each other. One's the even, one's the odd. Um, so knowing that, we know that we can do kind of we should be able to import this into GIMP the same way we did with the Super Pitfall assets in this, the same way, but using the gray 4-bit stuff that I'd mentioned before. So we also know that since they're 8 pixels, we know that the resolution on the Coco 2 is 256, so that gives us 32 across, so 30, basically, the same 32 columns. So um, we can put that into here. I don't think that does not look like all of it. Let's try this. 16384. Let's just go for the moon. Yeah, there we go. So, all right. So, and unfortunately, there is no zoom in this particular tool. So, oh, there we go. There we go. There is something that looks like the data. So, and 16 bits. Unfortunately, we can't set a palette for it. But with only 16 colors, it's pretty easy to do. Of course, now we have to zoom in and kind of search through this. Okay, there we go. We've got some, um, but those don't necessarily look like they are correct. They look like they're kind of offset here. So we know that's 10. Right. That's right. We need to, so I'm guessing that this is kind of aligned on a particular boundary. So we can actually fix that pretty easily. We know that Cocoa binaries, my window's over here, have a 5-byte header, so we can skip past those first 5 bytes and see what that gives us. That looks like it might, yep, that looks like it's a lot better. Okay, so we'll open this up and zoom into this, and voila, we actually have the the map data from Gold Runner 2. So, and of course we'll just do actually let's do, yeah, we'll do the first one. Oops. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get rid of all that. Okay. So this looks like it's all the levels. I think there's only like 30 of them, if that. So yeah, you can and you can see the DICOM level. I'm guessing that these darker ones are undiggable blocks, or maybe it's the other way around. Who knows? Let's go up here to the top. So and we can look at our palette. Oh, there is no palette. So let's don't want 8. We want. Okay, so it looks like all of them are kind of used here, which is not that's not entirely surprising. So there are also a couple of things that I noticed here. So you got these little wider blocks. Those are going to be the gold and the guards, and one of them is going to be the player. Because I'm betting that if I go over here and I start changing these, yeah, you see that yeah, there's only 3 there, so I'm guessing that's the guard. So we're going to mark that as red. This one doesn't seem to do anything. those are gold. Maybe the player is actually in a position. So that's 1/7. I'll make that, actually, you know what? Let's make that bright, bright yellow. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's do select this color. Oh, okay. So we know those are ladders. We're going to do the darker one like that. And then we know, let's see. Uh, I don't think that's right. Okay. Those look like they are undiggable. So we're going to do, oops, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to do pink. Go back to this color. Hmm. Those are going to be diggable blocks. Actually, you know what? The undiggable blocks were green. So, and there you have it. So you could take all of and you can do this on a wide variety of games, and you can even pull out graphics um, from some of it. In fact, if we go back to Gold Runner and we import it as black and white, and we change our width to 8, keep that same offset, you'll start seeing things like fonts, glyphs of fonts. There's the blocks right there, right up top, and so let's go ahead and open that. So yeah, you've got some what look like broken fonts, and then there you have see, you can see the box right here, the dig sequence, the ladder, another one, and these right here are going to be the guards. It's really hard to tell because of the artifacting that they have, or that's used, and this is the player right here. But yeah, it becomes pretty easy to wonder if there's anything else in there. Wonder if there's any full page graphics. Let's see that. Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, there is. So you can even take out the graphics. So let's import that. Let's see, that's so there's the title page. So you can go in there and modify that, uh, you could actually um, save this back out. I mean, theoretically, you should be able to go in and modify this page right now, save it back out, exporting it in as a monochrome image, and it should still work as long as you don't change the size of it. That should work. I may have to try and maybe do a video on that. Um, but yeah, so this came out in what, 85? Yeah, you can see where where something is probably during the cracking of it, the top of the 8 and the 5 go. So you could actually go in and like correct, problems like that in some of the games that that's happened to. Correct, fix them back to or put them back to the original state, so to speak. So there's a lot to be said about using GIMP for manipulating images that are embedded, and extracting them, in particular from image or from programs that you want, or snapshots. And you can do this, and we can take a look at. Here's the Super Pitfall one. Let me bring this over. So we know that it's got some pretty sizable sprites. Um, oh, let's see, what was that number again? 384 times 130. Yeah, there we go. I want to make sure we skip that first 384K. So, and we know that this is going to be gray. So we've got 256. So that doesn't seem like. So we know this kind of looks like it might be some sprite data in here, right below the thing. And this up here looks like it might be tiles. So let's do, oh, even though it comes on a program pack, I mean, there are archives on the internet that do host uh, all of the ROM images, and there's a disk version of it as well, that can be found on the archive site. So if anybody is looking for those, that should be that would definitely be a good place to look. Thanks, AF, for letting me for pointing that out. Um, so anyway, back to this. So you've got some possible graphics here. So we're gonna try to change this down to 16, and that will help us kind of eliminate stuff. And we've got to make this a lot bigger. 32. Yeah, GIMP has problems with large stuff like that. So, okay, yeah, we are gray 4-bit. So yeah, some of this looks like it might be a little bit bigger. So let's see what's starting to take shape here. Oh, that's going to be all of the map. Duh. 16. All right, that looks like something. Maybe a little bit bigger. Oh, there we go. 24. Oh, those look like the spikes that come up and down. Oh, and there's it looks like they're swimming maybe. Yeah, swimming. It's okay. Yeah, let's keep it at 24, and we'll see what else we've got in there. I think that looks good. Ooh, that's a big one. All right, so let's scroll down. That's gonna be that's the map. That looks like some tile graphics right there. Yeah, that's some tile stuff right there. So we know where to look for that. And that's going to be 16 by 16 for those that, yeah, those are tiles that looks like water. Yeah, here's the spiky looking things that I saw earlier. So, and there is Pitfall Harry. And there are, that looks like the masks for him. Oh, and there's some others that are a little bit bigger. Oh, we've got the snake here. So that would have to be offset. You've got a darker snake here. That's going to be the mask, I'm guessing. It's a pretty short snake. So yeah, all right. Yep, looks like that was it. So let's take a look at it at a 32 maybe. Let's go down and take a look at some of those other graphics. I want to see what was on after this. Yeah, see, you have to keep going back up. Oh, there's the other snake. Let's see, let's change the offset for that one. Oh yeah, okay, it's not such a short snake. It's a 32 by 32 snake. That's awesome. Let's see, let's change this to 16 by 16 and just see what we get. So we know that this first part is, yeah, yep, those are definitely tiles in there. Oh, that's there's Pitfall Harry. There he is running. There's the balloon. That'll actually help with, actually, let's do this. maybe that's the mask. That is the little heart thing. There's a snake. There's the niece. Let's see well, these actually look like masks. Oh no, these aren't masks. These are the actual images. So you got what is that? That's the free guy or the extra guy. The niece. Oh, both versions of her. You've got the one where she's frozen in stone, and then the one where she's unfrozen. That's cool. And that seems to be it. So yep, not much there. So you can use this to extract images. You can use it to convert or extract level data with a little extra work. It's of course converting that getting that data into a usable format can be a little bit of a pain, I guess, because you have to write some type of a program or a script in order to do it. There's nothing that'll really do that. Although you might be able to find something on the internet that does that for you or does it in a way that you can. In fact, I might actually take a look for something like that just to include. But so for all that, I think I'm pretty much done here. I've gone way longer than I've dragged this on um, long enough. So I'm gonna head on out. Everybody should have a good weekend. I don't think I'm gonna be doing any more videos for Septandy. This will probably be it. So everybody have a good weekend, and I will see you later.